Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Emmanuel, for this opportunity to come in here. My name is Karim. I'm the co-founder of Virtuo, as the screen says. I hope that the screen is big enough for you guys in the back to be able to see anything about it. But yeah, I mean, they usually say this, you save the best for last, and I think that's going to be for Emmanuel. I'm sure you guys are completely shattered by the whole day. I'll try to be as light as possible and tell you a bit more about our company. So Virtuo is a digital car rental company. So as the name say, we have no agencies, no agents. We have obviously parking bays and parkings. We rent cars, except that our customers do everything themselves. So from obviously downloading the application, booking their car, and going to the station, to the location where the car are, and unlocking the car with their phone, and I'll run you through it. So think of it as car sharing made purposely for the world of car rental. So we're not a car sharing operator. We don't operate on street. We operate off street in designated areas, parkings, but we do that with a lot of tech involved. So a lot of people ask me why in the heck we created with my partner a car rental business in 8 years from now, and I think that the simple answer is I was extremely naive. I had no idea that this business was going to be as complicated. Mind you that on top of what you guys run as a daily business, and I have a huge admiration for what you guys do because we deal with 5,000 units, so I know what I'm talking about. It's heavy operations. But on top of that, we've wanted to build the best technology out there. And so we do two things at the same time, which is usually not really good business. However, I'll prove you that what we've done is really automate, as the team of today, many things so that the business as a whole is way easier to operate, or at least operate efficiently. So we created a business because I'm sure you've seen that many times, and I mean no disrespect. I created the business 8 years ago. I'm a car rental operator. I run a car rental business. However, as a consumer that we all are, not necessarily in your brands, but in other brands, you've seen this, right? And so there's many articles, people say that it's the tech poor kind of industry out of travel segment. Since 1920, the business is essentially brick and mortar. You got a counter, and what happens is that in those days where everybody runs from the plane at the same time, you get that massive crowd. Obviously, this is probably an extreme scenario, but it does happen, right? And so long queues, endless paperwork, low level of transparency is obviously things that come time and time again, and we don't need to know that. Consumers say it and say it loud. The second piece was I was mind blown when I started the business by how low to no differentiation businesses had, and the best thing you can be as a judge to it is go on all our dear OTAs and meta search and request a car to understand that it's a race to the bottom. I think that was one of the terms that was used. Palma is probably not the best time of the year, November 15 to 17. You can rent a car at Click Rent for $31. So that's, I'm not really good at math, but I think that's $15.5 per day. And linked to it, at the same very dates, I've looked up for skis and boots because I'm going to ski in December. And it just seems that skis are twice the price as a rental car. So you have basically an asset, let's say that's an equivalent of a Polo, that is worth 15 times more than skis and boots. However, you rent it for twice less. And that's an absurdity. And the reason why that is of course, OTAs engage you guys to go for that race to the bottom. However, if you don't come in strong with a reason to prove to people that you're different, that's what you're going to be reduced to. Again, probably an extreme, because that's an extreme scenario and an extreme sort of season, but it does happen, right? And this year more than the last 2 years, obviously. And the third factor is we came into the business saying, I'm 40, I grant you, I look way younger, but we came into the business saying, the likes of who we are and our kids will not want to go through the hassle of waiting in line. I mean, it's an idea of the past, right? So the more you go, the more you download apps, the more you consume trips on an application. And so the current currency is on-demand mobility, right? You pull out your app, click of a button, you get what you want. The second piece is, and specifically in big cities, we operate in 25 different cities, but we do operate in Paris and London and Barcelona, where you have density of population, and there you strike two things at the same time. You have travelers going into the airports, but at the same time in the center of the city, you have those urbanites, those millennials that don't own cars, and that in itself is a huge, huge business. It is obviously not as seasonal as the travel industry, as the travel space, airport and train station, but in downtown locations, you can do heavy, heavy revenues just by grasping an opportunity that nobody has been really grasping. And so that's been also our focus. So, you blend all of that, and what we've did is, we've gone to it and said, okay, very naively, let's go full contactless. Let's not have one point of the whole chain to be, frictionful or, human involved, if you will. So what we've done is quite simply, yet not simplistically, we've created an application that streamlines the whole of car rental. So I'm going to skip the booking part, but obviously you can choose your car and so on and so forth. You can choose options, ancillaries. But once you've booked your car, what happens is, and actually before you book your car, you're asked either to get the car in a specific area, so train station, airport, where we operate, or in cities like London or Paris or Barcelona, we have density of population, we deliver the car to your door. And we do it with no valet interaction, no nothing. So you say, I live in the 16th arrondissement of Paris at this specific address, I want the car, and in 2 days from now, someone delivers to your door, curbside, or close to that specific address, leaves it there, does a checkout himself, he has an application, and you as a customer are notified that the car is waiting for you at a specific pinpoint. You go to it, you unlock the car with your phone, you do your rental, and then off you go. And same when you come back, you drop it off in the street, you say it's parked here, you do a checkout flow, and then the valet comes and pick it up and puts it back in the parking. So in the back you can see a picture of one of our parkings in Paris, not very clear, but we have our cars sitting next to each other, just like you guys have in your areas, except that the customer goes, and there he finds 4 hours before the start of the rental, our customers are asked to download an application, download the app, of course, but download the key. The key is sticky. Once you've downloaded it, you can put yourself in airplane mode. Still works. It works with the Bluetooth, and it's instant, and it's as instant as a mechanical key would be to your car. Linked to that, you cannot start the car if you don't do a damage report. It's completely mandatory, and we ask the customers to do a full one. And usually at the start of rental, customers are super responsible. They do 20,000 different pictures because they want to waive themselves from any responsibility whatsoever. On the way back, they're going to be asked to do it, and now we force it. We ask our customers to do 10 different pictures of the most sensitive areas. So the wheels, obviously the front bumper, the back bumper, where we usually see intensity of damage, but also frequency of damage. And last but not least, and that's been rolled up quite recently, is we had quite a bit of conversations we had to deal with at customer support. All of them are dealt with in an app, in a chat, and so you can typically correspond with an agent, ask any questions you may have. To reduce significantly the number of conversations we had per booking, we integrated recently ChatGPT, and it's incredibly, incredibly powerful. And that's where you touch the beauty of customer support, technology for customer support, namely, and it trains on all the data that we give to those LLMs, but it's incredibly powerful, and it's as precise, if not more precise, sad to say, than our human agents. So this is for what we do. So now Emmanuel told me, but it's good to show them what you do, but also what the results are. So a couple of facts. First of all, we operate in 4 different markets: so France, UK, Spain, and Portugal. 25 cities within those countries, 5,000 cars at the peak of last year. And in terms of RPDs, depending on the country, France is going to be on average at 55, the UK, we're London-centric, we're at 75. And that's on car categories that span through compact and small SUVs, be it French brands and some premium brands. Like the biggest car we do from a premium perspective is a BMW X1. So it's a quite, sort of sizable fleet, yet, minimize the diversity of different models. We run at 60% full fleet utilization, so that's not a lot. But what we focus on, and we'll speak about that, is that we have way less fixed costs than what you guys do. And so our prerogative is not so much utilization, although we'd love to have more, but it's really focusing on RPU, and therefore we try to price and generally speaking, be slightly higher than the rest of the industry. Because again, we think that we bring that difference, and people are really, and I'll show you that in a second, are really ready to pay for that. Where we miss a bit of utilization is during the week, to be fair, because we were born as a leisure B2C kind of company. We lack a bit of B2B. It's 20% of our bookings today, but we can do more of that. And we have a Virtuo for Business team within the HQ office. And we obviously, day in, day out, we try to sign big businesses. So what I showed you previously was really the customer-facing application. But we wouldn't be revolutionizing this business if we didn't deal with the complexity of operations. And quite honestly, and trying to stay modest, the biggest technology piece we've built is not so much the customer-facing piece, but really more the back-end component. And so the first thing as a game changer is 100% of our cars are connected. So we implement a box in each of our cars. Those boxes give us all the telematics we need on the car, but on top of that, we leverage all the APIs of OEMs. And so we double the data we have, and the reason why we do that is that we want to make sure that the data is as robust as possible. So typically, tire pressure is usually more robust on the API of OEMs than it is on any telematics in the market. All those data are poured into our built-in RMS, rental management software, so it's entirely proprietary, and the data analytics that follow through. And the last piece is every single job that is done upon return. So typically our car is rented 4 days, it comes back to the station. All the jobs of washing, of inspecting the car, of repairing the car are done by vendors. So we don't have any fixed employees. All the jobs of washing, just for the standard, we wash cars in between 2 rentals every time, and we take pictures of the cars every time. Those are done by a community of third-party vendors. And so they pay by the mission. And what they do is we train them on their tools, so which is simple tools, which is the application, business application. And we tell them exactly what should be done, and they're paid by the mission. Very simple. And everything, back and forth is rule-based, automated. So tire pressure is at 2.1, you need to put it back to 2.8. All those rules are set, and everything is automated. So it's not like as if our teams at HQ had to create manual jobs for those guys to intervene, because it is, again, rule-based. Doing all of that, I'm sure there's a bit of skeptics in the room, but what are the results on different fronts? First of all, from a customer perspective, we all do that to please customer, or else why do B2C business? First and foremost, since the creation of Virtuo, we had slightly less than 1 million bookings, 3 million downloads, and 250 active users, so that use Virtuo on their second time or plus. NPS is at 60. Customer acquired organically, and that's a huge differentiation, 70%. So 70% of customers that have met Virtuo, use Virtuo, were done through word of mouth, SEO, and brand search on the App Store. So people love it so much that they tell each other about it, and that's super strong. And from a marketing perspective, and we all know that OTAs, so online travel agencies, and meta search are a drug. I know many of you use that extensively. Those guys take 15 to 20% of our business every single time. And some may argue that it's marketing. I just say that it's a tax, right? Because if the customer always comes back to the same channels, even if it's the same customer, you're still gonna pay 15 to 20%. In our case, we use OTAs very tactically, and so much so that if you look at our share of paid acquisition, 95% is done through different channels, but those channels revert our customers directly to their application. 5% are done through OTAs and meta search. So it's pretty low dependency on OTAs, and hence why we're probably in a better position to hike our prices up. Other skeptics say, well, yeah, you guys do that, but I have guys at the counter, and they're like selling the shit out of insurance, additional drivers, cross-border fees, whatever, you name it. And that was our trade in the beginning, where we say, okay, well, we're probably not driven by sales at a counter because we have no counters, but what if we could use e-commerce tactics so that we just prove to everyone that we can sell a lot of ancillaries to our product. So, what we do is like, the booking way, just to use a bad example, but use a lot of engineering and sort of e-commerce tactics, which becomes, designing, A/B testing on design, on and on and on and on and on until we iterate and find what's the best recipe. And so we do many screens and roll them out and understand what's the best and most efficient gain from all those designs, and stick to one final one when we feel that we're really getting good performance. So 20% of our RPD is done through ancillaries. So I have no idea how that compares to you guys, but I would love to exchange notes after. But that's what we do, and that's without having really pushed it to the max. I think there's 3 things we're working on right now, which is marketing push. Typically, you rent a car, we tell you, have you considered the premium insurance? Maybe you're gonna argue that, when you booked initially, you didn't really feel like it, but when you go into the parking and you see a pristine car, then we push it at that very time. We allow you for an hour when you start the rental to subscribe to it. That could potentially lead to conversion. And so marketing push at very critical times can be massively insightful and bring more business. Flexible cancellation sounds trivial. We haven't done it, so we're working on that. And last but not least, upgrading to bigger models. Very easy to know. Once we assign a plate number at the very last hours before our customer rents a car, that person wants a compact. Very easy for us to push and say the car next to you is available, subject to whatever euros, dollars on top. And so that's currently something we're working on. So you can, if you're savvy, if you want to push design, you can increase ancillaries just by virtue of sticking to a well-designed app and without relying on your sales force to be able to do that. The other piece is when you look at it, and that's one of the theses behind why investors invested initially in us, is this is a traditional rent-a-car company, obviously very simplified P&L, but this is all the costs incurred, personnel, rent, car, parking, repair, washing. So you guys run, for most of you, I figure, a fixed cost on personnel and rent of your premises, of course. This is not applicable. We don't have any personnel on site. Car, parking, repair, washing. Some may say that car and parking are semi-variable, semi-fixed kind of cost. Repair and washing are entirely variable. We are obviously exactly doing the same thing. 100% of our cars are done through buybacks. So we believe that that's semi-variable. Parking, obviously we don't get one parking bay for one car. We try to optimize that by playing on a rotation ratio and making that as best as we can. Just as and again, we'd love to compare notes. When I've been speaking with different independent car companies, most of them say, an agency running 50 cars, I need 2 to 3 people behind a counter to be able to do and count all the hours of the week. Just as a proxy at Virtuo centrally, because we don't have anybody on site, one full-time employee handles 120 to 150 cars. And so what that person does is making sure that all the vendors are doing their job. Everything is automated, but I'm making sure that all the missions have been accepted. And of course, when there's immobilization, cars being offline, and you need to take care of everything that pertains to repair and so on, that is obviously automated, but needs some follow through and follow on. And how about damage collection? So, our belief is that if you put technology at the heart of what you do, it enables you to have for you to have no debate with your customer as to who is responsible for what. So customers, as I told you, are responsible for doing a damage check that's 100% based on what they feel like they need to declare. So obviously on the application, they're going to see all the dents that are already referenced. If they want to take 50 different pictures, they can. On the way back, what we ask them to do is we force them those 10 pictures, and our cleaner comes right after the customer and does a check, and he or she is asked to do forced 10 pictures as well. Essentially, we look at our back office and look at all the different images scanned. We have zooms, we can zoom on the picture, And then based on that, lots of things can be leveraged through AI. A lot of it is still done manually. And honestly, because we are bulletproof before and after, the piece for complaints is really, really small. And what we do from a damage valuation perspective is any damage superior to 500 euro is automated and sent to DECRA. DECRA values the damages, sends it back, and the customer receives the copy of the damages and the invoice. And we obviously take on the deposit that we hold. And with the entire explanation to the customer. Here are the pictures before and after. Here is the DECRA estimation, and hence what we're going to take X on your deposit. And I'm just going to finish off on that because this is a testament of what technology can also do. Just for RGPD, GDPR compliance, I've put my profile. So what we do at Virtuo is from a customer perspective. So we know everything about the cars, we know everything about the business, but we also know everything about our customers, of course, trying to mitigate and be compliant as possible on all of that. But this is typically who I am. I'm a A-score driver, and that is based on different things. It's obviously driven or influenced by my driving score. So here, my last rental, I didn't drive much, 68 kilometer, driving time 72 minutes. I did go to 132 kilometer an hour, so slightly above limit. And I've driven 0 minutes at night, 0 minutes early morning, and the longest drive I've done in one streak is 44 minutes. Right. So that, is computed and taking into account in the risk score. Risk score is based on when you search something in the application, you're giving us a lot of information. So typically somebody who wants to rent a car instantly in Marseille, which is south of France, at 1 a.m. on a premium car, that's usually D. And so we take that into account, we mix it with obviously information we have on you, on your retention, on how much revenue you've generated at Virtuo, and then that gives you a risk score, and that risk score is then computed, and the screen is super small, but you can start playing on multipliers, on excess, on deposit levels, on pricing, on any type of things you want to do to either encourage an A-score driver to want to rent or deter the customer that scored D. And the last thing that we've done, linked to the risk score, that has tremendously decreased our damage frequency year over year since we've implemented those selfie checks and those risk score, we see damage frequency in all countries drop by 30%. 30%. It's humongous. And part of the reason why is when you conduct a contactless car rental business, the main thing you're exposed to is, I've downloaded the app, I've signed up, I'm saying that I'm going to book the car for myself, but actually it's someone else who's going to pick up the car. Very easy, you give your access to someone else, download the app, and you have no control over that. And so the typical use case that we have are twofold when people want to fraud. One is mild fraud, which is I'm driver A, my husband is going to come and pick it up. That is still the case for refusal of Virtuo. I mean, just like you guys will probably want to see the person, make sure that it's his or her driver's license or his credit card or her credit card. So this is a case where we refuse. The other case where we refuse is a picture of a picture. And all of that is not only proprietary, but it's AI, completely AI proofed. So typically here what you see is checked because the picture of this guy is live, but the match, the face don't correspond. Here, the match, the liveness doesn't work because it's a picture of a picture and we detect that. And so all of that is not just, obviously for the sake of it. It's because when you run our business, you are so much exposed to different kind of scenarios that are shitty, one more than the other. They need to come back with the tech solutions. And so that's what we've done. And that's it for today. I mean, I'd love to compare notes with you guys. If you have questions, we'd be happy to answer them. And we'd love to help if we can. The two things that we're doing is we've launched an affiliate program. So we have more and more people joining the brand and wanting to obviously use by virtue of that, the brand, but also our customers and our technology. And the second piece that we do is we license our technology. So if there's anyone in the room that is interested, we'd love to hear you on that and be able to give you our insights, or if not more, our technology as a customer, as a provider. And that's it. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions.